Dear children, let us begin a new day with remembering the presence of the Almighty. Let us pray to God. Please give us the grace and wisdom to learn properly. As today, chapter 3, the movement towards a new world. Now we are witnessing the changes that took place after the end of the First World War. The First World War, it happened in 1st August 1940, and after that the globe, the entire world became economically very poor. The immediate governments in power were unsuccessful in improving the condition. The government in the power that time unable to control the situation, and the global situation is and destabilized all the countries. All over the world, the countries become very poor. And the main thing is, one is fascism in Italy, second one is Nazism in Germany, and militarism in Japan, and the global depression that happened in 1929 to 1930. So please take page number 15. So all we discussed and what is fascism? The First World War, Italy was on the side of winning the nations and fought those nations, equal on massive expenditure of $12 million. And the people in Italy very angry about such situation, and they started some movements in order to salvage Italy from such dire situation. But Benito Mussolini launched a fascist party, adopted a bundle of sticks and axes, the symbol of that. So the people decided to start new party, and they decided to form new governments. So that movement that happened took place in Italy is known as fascism. And also in the same way in Germany, another movement started that is known as Nazism, and the party is known as the Nazi party under the leadership of Adolf Hitler. The end of the Second World War, innumerable European Jews lost lives, which is known as Holocaust genocide. And militarism in Japan. According to the Treaty of Versailles, Japan got the benefit of the province of China. England and France distributed many regions of Germany between them. Japan was quite displeased with this. And in order to get the majority, upper hand in the whole world, Japan started to improve their own military power. And all these we will discuss about in this paragraph, the militarism in Japan. Then global depression. What was this global depression? The heads of most European nations were held belief that the end of the First World War, even post-problem, the World War will come to an, but the proved wrong. Suddenly, a large number of trade began to sold in Wall Street and stock market, causing the stock market value crumbled. The stock market value crumbled because of this, World War situation. Post-World War situation. So that is the global depression. Then let us see the factors caused the Second World War. And these all factors started and the leading towards another World War. That is the second one. The causes that caused the Second World War is given in page number 16. The main feast nationalism, groupism, militarism, failure of League nations. And after the First World War, the entire community, the global community decided to form League of Nations to keep the solidarity, the love and cooperation among the countries. Now, that the failure of League of Nations and Treaty of Versailles, imperialist ambitions of Adolf Hitler and German attack on Poland, and these all are the important factors that caused the World War II. So it's a very important point. Then which are the factors that caused the World War II? So 2 marks question, you write only these important: peace, nationalism, groupism, militarism, failure of League of Nations, Treaty of Versailles, imperialist ambition of Adolf Hitler, German attack on Poland. So these all are the important points. Now, another important point, page number 17, and about the World War II and outer. With the commencement of World War II, the world was divided into 2 groups, and one is Allied nations, and under the leadership by England and France. On the other side, the group of Axis nations comprising Germany, Italy and Japan. Allied nations and Axis nations. And this all happened because of the failure of the League of Nations. First World War. After the First World War, League of Nations were failed. The aim was to keep all this community with intact, but that was failed. Now, again, the world divided into 2 groups: Allied nations and Axis nations. Okay, and effects of the World War II. Next page number 18. You can see the economic effects: communalism in China, the beginning of the Cold War. These are the main effects of the economic World War. Then we have seen the next page, the formation of the United Nations. At the end of the First World War, the League of Nations formed in order to establish world peace. But the fact World War II occurred means that the League of Nations were failure. At the end of the Second World War, on 24th October 1945, United Nations was established, and in order to with the purpose of peace, security and coexistence in the world, and its headquarters to be in New York. Now, United Nations, shortly known as UN, it is because of the failure of how this happened, the formation of the United Nations. It is because of the failure of the League of Nations. Okay, and this important point, and established on 24th October 1945. And the purpose is peace, security and social exchange in the world. And where is the headquarters? Headquarters in New York. Okay, now page number 20. The organs of the United Nations. This is very important. The main organs are General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, then Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice, Secretariat. So these all are the main general organization. And as I told you, 2 marks question. You just write the structure adapted by United Nations. The page number 20 at the top. And United Nations organs of the United Nations, 6 organs are there. One is General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice and Secretariat. And each one will be asked a detailed report for 2 marks or 3 marks. So what is Secretariat? General Assembly. We begin with General Assembly. The biggest organ of the United Nations Assembly was the General Assembly. And it includes the representative of all the member nations. And the duties it can discuss and advise and recommendations about during the election. Only 1 vote from each country can be counted. And Security Council, this is the most important organ of the United Nations, and there are 5 permanent members. This is very important. Which are the 5 permanent members? America, Britain, France, Russia and China. These are all are the 5 permanent members, Security Council members. And other 10 countries have not permanent members. They are elected as term of 2 years. And also another 10 members, they are not permanent members and they were electing for only for 2 years. And after 2 years, their term expires automatically out from the Security Council. The permanent members are, I repeat, America, Britain, France, Russia and China. The Council enjoys the tremendous powers in order to maintain international peace and security. And what are the responsibilities? It solves the problems and disputes between the nations peacefully through negotiations and mediation. And solving the problem between the other countries, international problem, through the negotiations and the consultations. And third one is page number 21, economic and Social Council. This council also called a ECOSOC, ECOSOC, the General Assembly is referring. And under this, the council, sub-councils are there. First one is WHO. WHO means World Health Organization. Then IMF, International Monetary Fund. FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization. Then ILO, International Labour Organization. Then UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Then UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So these are the sub-council under the leadership of Economic and Social Council. Then fourth one, Trusteeship Council. There are 5 permanent members, nations in this council. These representatives selected General Assembly included here. It observes the matches pertaining to the nations have not acquired independence and under the some previous mandate. Then International Court of Justice is very important. International Court of Justice, and every country have their own the Court of Justice. In India we have from Taluka level up to Supreme Court. Taluka level district courts are there. Then high courts are there on each state, and Supreme Court, and it is located in New Delhi. And also this International Court of Justice, and it is headquartered is Hague, HAGUE, International Headquarters, Supreme International Court of Justice, the Supreme Court, that is international, not our Supreme Court, International Court of Justice, and located in Netherlands. There are 15 judges on it who are appointed for 9 years. It solves the dispute between the nations, gives verdict on international dispute presented before it, and gives a legal advice. And the duty is to solve the dispute between nations and give a verdict on international dispute between the before it, or gives a legal advice. The last one is Secretariat. The office of the Security Council of the United Nations is called the Secretariat. The office of the United Council Secretariat is called the Secretariat. Office is called Secretariat. The General Assembly appoints Secretary General for 5 years. Secretaries, administrators, assistants, and translators are experts are also appointed to the help of Secretary. The Secretary is situated in New York. The Secretariat is located in New York. The United States constantly make efforts to establish the world peace and world unity to achieve the dream of the universal. So that's all about in this chapter. So we have discussed I'll repeat once again. Discussed about the post First World War situation and the movements that started in Italy, that is fascism, and Nazism in Germany, and the militarism in Japan, and also the global depression that happened between 1929 to 30. Then the causes of Second World War is very important. Free nationalism, groupism, militarism, failure of League of Nations, treaty of Versailles, imperialistic ambition of Adolf Hitler, and German attack on Poland. Then comes the effects of the Second World War, that is economic effects, communism in China, and the beginning of the Cold War, and long-term effects. Then the formation of the United Nations. Of course, it's only after because of the failure of the League of Nations. Okay, and the organs of the United Nations is very important, and this must be a 2 marks or 3 marks question, and learn very well and complete the notes. Okay, so we will meet you with a new lesson in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye bye.